Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Door Bumper Clear post Nashville edition. I am still Freddie Kraft. I still spot for Bubba Wallace and Dean Thompson. Again, one good race, one bad race for me this weekend. Thomas, you had an eventful weekend.
I did. It was all right.
You got every where's that, Mass, I guess, or
Mass,
Rhode Island?
Yeah, right on the line, yeah. Got destroyed on the last lap. And Cody wasn't doing that bad. He had a wheel come loose. Final stage, still in the lead lap.
I know.
Down.
You know how I know that?
Because
they were pitted directly in front of us all night long. And I was like, we have not lapped this guy? Like, it's,
yeah, it was good.
But it's good for you guys.
He's getting better, man.
Carson, eventful night in Langley. How was the Cars Tour? How was your weekend?
It was good. It was fun. We actually got to tour Army base this weekend on Friday. We got to go to Fort Eustis, and I was sitting in.
Did you sign up or?
No, they don't want me. I guarantee it. We got to sit in all kinds of cool helicopters and stuff, like Blackhawks, Apache. It was really cool. And then obviously Langley's always a good show. We had a first-time winner and a little scuffle in the pits. So good night all around. Not a bad night to be at the car store.
Exciting. I got a bunch of obviously me and Landon Huffman share a lot of mutual friends, and I got a lot of emails. Yeah, no emails. Text messages. He had an eventful finish to his night, it sounded like. But anyway, also joining us this week, I don't even know what your title is anymore. You've done every damn job in the sport, I feel like, at some point. Jeff Dickerson, welcome to Door Bumper Clear.
What is your title? What are you now?
Do you know?
Glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess still co-owner. I don't know.
What are you, man?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy to me too. Don't worry.
I mean, literally, I don't think I could even rattle off all the different things you've done in the sport. How did you get involved with racing?
Oh man. So I didn't really. My family wasn't in racing. Like my next door neighbor ran sprint cars, and 1989 Lincoln Park Speedway champion Mike Helm, and so I would just go over there and just like hang out in the seat, and then finally I was old enough to go to the pits, and I just started going every weekend, and so just dominoes, from there. I had a high school teacher. We used to run like Bloomington on Friday nights, and we'd run Kokomo or Hobsot on Sunday, and so I'd just like us dragging in here today, right? We get home at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'd just get to school at like, 9:30, 10 o'clock. So this teacher, Mike Culp, I don't even know if he's still alive, has like an intervention with me, right? He's just like, hey man, it's just like, are you on drugs? Like, why are you always late? Like on,
Yeah.
I was like, no man, we run, we go and run sprint cars on Friday night. And at that point I'm just like, like knocking dirt off the car and a mechanic and doing tires. And, he said, hey, after he figured out I wasn't, on something.
Problem child.
He's like, there was a guy that came through here about 5 years ago named Tice Carlson. You guys should get hooked up. And so Tice was running USAC, which was like the deal, for all of us, local, track guys. And so I started going with Tice. One thing led to another. He it was like really like the best days of my life. And he knew I wanted to drive, and so I was running some go-kart stuff and some, micros and little things. And when the Indy Racing League was formed, and so he kind of went up, he put me in the stuff, so I'd run, like again, man, just like I have this Forrest Gump life, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like the luckiest guy, seriously, like in the world. And so got to do a bit of everything. But, Tommy, it's like I tell people now, it's like, no, I was like a pretty okay mechanic. And everybody's like, yeah, shut up,
right. They don't blame me.
Yeah, they're like, your hands are too soft.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how you ended up spotting. None of that stuff had a spotter. I mean.
No, it did. So in I think the first time I spotted was in 1998. And it was the Indy Racing League race at Orlando at Walt Disney World, right? And so, I mean, I'm legit just hanging out because I'm just like, man, I'm a sprint car guy. What am I doing here? And they gave me a radio and said, hey, we need a spotter. You got to go spot. And that's exactly how it started. And so did all the IndyCar stuff. Jason Leffler was one of my, really great friends. And when the trucks would run with the IndyCars, because, everybody was using their cup spotters, right? It's like, so that's how I started doing NASCAR stuff. So I did Leffler when he was at Ultra. And then that turned into, remember we had that 43 with Johnny Sauter?
Yeah.
So I did that, you know what I mean? Because that was MMI, right?
Yeah.
With Carey. And it just, that turns into
Now look
Ricky
at you.
Craven needs a spotter. You know what I mean? Like it just
snowballs.
it's like I think I have the same, it's like the same story as everybody else. Like we all just get like a break, you know? I just have been lucky enough to get like, it feels like 20 of them, you know? So
I mean, and now we talked about it: spotter, manager, agent, crew member, now part owner. You know, is there one job that you just feel like you enjoy the most? I mean, especially, you know, I don't know if it's whether it's negotiating contracts or seeing the fruits of your labor. Like this weekend, obviously, you get a win with Rajah on, you know, Friday night. Really good run last night with Carson. What do you look back and enjoy the most of this crazy trip you've been on?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really think the part that I like, I think the most now, I think I'm finally to this age where it's just like, you see like everybody you've kind of come up with, you know what I mean? And, you know, and sometimes relationships, they come full circle, right? It's like, I feel like we fought with everybody in that garage and we've loved everybody in that garage, right? And so I think to me, it's just kind of like, it really is. It's cliche, but it's just, it's the relationships. It's watching people that you knew, taking them out of, you know, a midget and turning them into cup drivers. It's just like, we're just old enough that now we're the old guys. And so kind of like watching, I mean, look, it's cool. You look at your team, you know what I mean? And you're just like, oh man, that's us, you know? But it's I don't know. To me, that still seems kind of surreal, but like the people, you know, like I've known you guys forever. Right.
Yeah.
And so just kind of like seeing like where you started, and it's like, now I'm on his podcast. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know that we would have drew that up either.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't even think the first time I met you, you were spotting for Kyle in Bono's Modified at New Smyrna or some. I can't remember. Like it was, God, that was probably, I don't know, early 2000s, I would say. It's just, it is a wild ride. Somehow we all end up in the same place, but it's crazy. But bring it full circle now. We're talking about present day. You guys made a lot of changes in the offseason over at Spire. Even towards the end of last year, we saw it, you know, the beginnings of it. Matt McCall coming over there. Obviously, the deal with Rodney maybe didn't work out as planned. But are you starting to see some of the fruits of that labor now? Like I mean, you guys have incredible speed every week, it seems like.
Yeah, we're it feels like every offseason we're, you know what I mean? Like we're still new enough where you're still making changes, you know. I don't know that it's ever right, you know, and some of it's just feel. But yeah, man, I mean, we're fast, but it's hard, you know. I thought like last year it's like we've taken steps every year. Sometimes you guys just didn't see it, right? But for us, they were like big deals, you know, because first it's just like, hey, let's just get it on the hauler, you know, so that was a big deal. You know, then it was just like, oh man, let's just stay on the lead lap for the first stage. That was a big deal, you know. So like we figured out that the races in the back are some of the most intense races like you've ever seen, right? Oh. So like when you're back there and you're like, man, we ran 26, it's like you still leave with like a sense of accomplishment, right? But I'm not going to discount. It also feels really good when you're running, you know, you're like, we might win this, you know? So, and it feels like to me, it's like we're saying that, you know, more frequently than we ever have.
You know, and I think that was something else I wanted to ask you. Like how much can your goals change throughout a season even? Because I feel like preseason, I probably would have put the 77 and maybe the 71 as dark horses to get in the playoffs. Michael probably I would have needed to win somewhere, you know, a road course or something like that. Carson potentially could point his way in, but probably needed to win. And now it almost feels like the 77's got so much speed. It almost feels like it'd be a disappointment if they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's you know how it is, man. Your expectations change every Monday, I think, right? I think that like last week at Charlotte, I thought we had like 3 really, really fast cars. You know, and I think like where I sit, it's like I think that's my goal, right? It's like I can't control what happens on the racetrack or this, that, but if we can put 3 fast cars on the race, you know, on the track, then I'm like, man, I think we've done our part. I think the 77 is getting a lot of attention, obviously, because I mean they're either he's winning races or
for one reason or another.
Yeah, for one reason or another, we're the 77. But it's like the 71 has been super quick too, and the 7 has had their moments. I just feel like, you know, we've been really good on Saturdays, and you know, so your expectation level raises about 6 o'clock every Saturday, and we just figure out some way to screw it up, you know, on Sunday. So when you know, it's such a cliche, but it's like you can just execute your race, don't make mistakes, have some speed. You know, you're there.
Yeah, you're going to finish top 25.
Yeah.
Because that's how hard it is.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't understand that. It's just, It's not easy, man.
I remember when I spotted my first Cup deal. Obviously, was spotting for Tommy, and I felt like our goal was, I think it was 24th. There was there was like a little money break there or something like that, and I was like, if we can run 24th, we won, and that's just how it is back there. It's so cutthroat. And like yesterday, we got we had a speeding penalty, so we're kind of trapped a lap down. And I look up and I'm like, we're racing Kyle Larson for the lucky dog. What the is going on back here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yesterday was a weird race, I thought, where with you, the 23, the 5, the 45, I know that it didn't feel like there was a lot of passing sometimes, right? It's like it felt like some of it we were all just going the same speed. And then, we get on the plane, you're looking down the sheet, you're just like, this guy was left for dead, this guy was left for dead, this guy was left for dead.
Yeah.
And again, if you can just kind of like just work through that adversity, and again, it sounds so easy, but it's so hard. You're going to run. You can salvage top 10 still, And so that was I couldn't believe you guys were like 8th or 7th or 8th or something. That's a big deal.
Me neither. To be honest, the way the last month's been going, I couldn't believe it either. Like you said, for us, it was just a kind of we got behind early, probably unfortunately gave a bunch of opportunity to get a bunch of stage points, and then we just kind of battled back through it. I'm sure we'll talk about a little more throughout the show about the passing and the good racing and whatnot. How was your races last night? I mean, Carson, obviously, a lot of speed, cycled back up to the top 3. I think finished second, right? Mm-hmm. How was the other guys? I know Michael was right there, kind of in the mix, mid-pack-ish.
Yeah, Michael, it felt like with the last, they were having a great race till like 10 to go in the second stage, and then they just started bleeding, And
there was a few guys like that.
Yeah, I think they had the double whammy. I think they corded a right front and blistered a left rear, so.
Right rear. A lot of people have right rear issues. I mean, I could see it on the computer. The last 15, 20 laps of each long run, boy, it was getting bad.
I made a comment to Bubba because it looked to me like, you would have the normal fall off, and it would get to a certain point where it would start to fall off a little bit harder, and then there was a point where I think Ty Gibbs and Carson were racing the hell out of each other towards the end of that stage, and Ty had a moment where he got real free, and that was it. He dropped like a rock. Same kind of thing happened to Briscoe, and then once they got back there, you never saw him again. Like that was the end of it. It was just one of those deals. But I mean, I don't know. We're gonna get into the race, I'm sure. But.
Like you just said that about Ty. Carson and him had like a really great battle in the first stage, right? That for like 26th. And even later in the race, like I didn't know Ty finished 30th or whatever it was till like on the plane home, and he looked. I mean, that's 30th. You want to talk about your field?
Yeah,
I mean that was 30th. Yeah. Ty, who was kicking, seemed pretty fast to me. For most of that race. I don't know if they had a penalty or something like that.
No.
But you had a lot of good guys that, they just kind of fell off. The 19, the 54, 71.
Yeah. Talk about Rajah. Obviously, big win for him. Pit crew on it all night long. It seemed like he came off with the lead every restart, and then did his job holding off two of the. I mean, I think the 11 and the 34 have been the class of the field really in that truck series. He did a really good job holding them off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I keep saying it. It was just a statement win. I think for that group, Raj is a better driver this year than he's ever been. You just couldn't tell. You know what I mean? Could just we just have bad luck, or And again, I don't know that our stuff is as good as we wanted either. But man, it helps, and it's easy to pass them when they're all standing still on pit road. You know what I mean? But he still executed, and what you nailed it, man. It's when you have the 11 and the 34, on you, it's easy to fold, because I mean they are really fast.
I like more of the win because of your crew chief, right? Well, just think, you guys just came to him with a thought. How many years ago?
He came to us.
Yeah, with a thought.
Yeah.
And now, how many truck teams you have?
4.
Right. I mean, you guys started in his garage, right? In his shop at his house, right? In the beginning, right?
I'm so happy you're saying this. People thought like we were running that deal like out of Hendrick.
Yeah.
We were running it out of Bono's garage behind his house.
In his backyard.
Yeah, it's Days of Thunder.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because you'd call like one of the Cup guys that were going to run the car that week. They were like, okay, well, they're like, no, it's You see the house. Keep going down the
keep
hill.
going down
the track.
Yeah, and don't get stuck on when you make a right there around the building because
Right.
there's a lot of trees that he's still knocking down.
Yeah, and you know what, Tommy? It's funny. I said this to Bono a couple weeks ago because again, I don't think it's any secret. I think our stuff is we just haven't had that pop, right? And this is getting in the truck series is Bono's fault.
Yeah.
Us having 4 is my fault.
Yeah. Well, always.
Yeah.
I mean,
And so, but I feel like I put him kind of in this spot where I was just like, man, and this is exactly what I said to him, Tommy. I go, if our race shop was behind your house and we just had one truck, we'd have no problem. I know that you would just sit back there all day and you would figure out how to make these things go better. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? Got 4 trucks, you know what I mean? 50 people.
well, 4 trucks times how many trucks, right? That you have to fix, that
That's
you have
right.
to service, that you have to update, right? All the rule changes, right? I mean, it's not, you don't have 1 or 2 trucks anymore like you started. So
No.
the change takes longer than you think, right? When you're trying to update and making things better. So, yeah, I mean, I was kind of pissed that they didn't interview him or didn't even show him after the race. They showed somebody else.
He actually smiled.
No, that wasn't even him.
That
That was the engineer they showed. They didn't even show
that's right. They
Bono.
showed Aaron.
Yeah, and then we were like, I'm saying to myself, and I'm sure he's up on the pit box with his shoes off, right? He's in his socks, right? So I know he's not going to put his shoes on and go walk out, and you're not even going to see him. I mean, it's just Bono, quiet.
Is that something he does? He hangs out without his shoes
He never
on?
has his shoes on anyway.
Oh.
He'll walk around the shop without his shoes sometimes. But just you don't even hardly know the guy, and look at all the things he's accomplished in our sport. I mean,
absolutely.
And to come to you with, you know what? Let's maybe think about doing this, and the way you are is,
Yeah, let's do it.
well, you don't do that, man. You do. You talk to about always. I've known you. You do a really good job of throwing out there. And then you just sit there for a little bit, and you let things, you let things cultivate, and you let everybody come to you with all their ideas and all the things, and then someone's going to go, and you're going to go, that's it, that's what we're going to do, and that's how you got to where you got because you use other people's intelligence, and now you're using other people's money, right? Because I mean, look, we both kind of started the same way, right?
Well, I don't have Smart's order money.
No, well, yeah, yes.
It's a necessity. We gotta,
Exactly. But to see how you grew and to where you come from is amazing, right? And then you got the support group underneath you, that started the whole foundation. I just think it's cool.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm super lucky. I look at our shop, right, and I look at upstairs and downstairs, and what you really want to say to those guys is like, I'm you. You know what I mean? Because again, it's like you can't do it without anybody else. Like nobody's doing this sport by themselves. The driver's not driving it by himself. You know what I mean? And crew chiefs aren't crew chiefs. They need a driver and all that. So it's like I'm super lucky. Guys upstairs. We've had the same group, upstairs. It feels like for years, right? And I mean, I wouldn't do it with anybody else, right? With Bill and Emma and Todd and all those guys, it's just like, man, they've just been with us forever. And then you look at Bono, right? Again, Bono, who does not get enough credit for, a Daytona 500 championship and Brickyard and, and
600,
Charlotte 600. Yeah.
2 Xfinity championships.
Oh, absolutely. And he doesn't.
One of the only winners, crew chief, that's won in every single division in NASCAR, right?
No, right, for sure. And that's, he's got such a presence, and yet he's so unassuming. Because like you said, it's like he's not even on the broadcast. They're showing Aaron up there. They're showing the engineer. I mean, Aaron might be better looking than him. Maybe
that's probably what it was.
But
Optics.
No, Bono probably knew that camera. He's like, no, you sit in that seat.
He might have had his tooth out too. You never know with Bono.
yeah, but look, a lot of people, have blessed me along the way, right? And when I met Bono, it was over at Chips. You know what I mean? And Chips, another guy that did it. Mr. Hendrick. I mean, without Mr. Hendrick, I'd be,
Oh yeah.
I'd be working in one of his dealerships probably, right? And so it's just like I'm super fortunate, but none of that's lost on me. I mean, I legit, come from nothing, right? Like seriously. And so that's you're saying like other people's money. It had to be.
Exactly.
To go racing, you know what I mean? Or for me to even live for a long time, right? So it's there was no other choice. That's how we had to do it.
I'm proud of you, man, because I know how hard it is. and I know where you got to and what you're doing. It's awesome.
No, thank you so much, Tommy.
And you talk about starting a truck team. I see some rumors floating around this week that Cletus may be going truck racing, maybe with the new Dodge deal.
Yeah, him and Frankie Muniz, and they can all hang out together. Frankie Muniz, whatever his name is. What was his show?
He's either an actor or Italian.
Malcolm in the Middle. Yeah, they can all hang out on YouTube and subscribe and sell trucks. It'll be good.
It'll be exciting. Hey everyone, when you're a homeowner, there are a lot of things to juggle. Let our great partner American Financing help you with finding ways to save and one less thing to juggle each month.
American Financing is licensed in all 50 states, and they are a family-owned mortgage lender that's been around for 25 years. They've helped hundreds of thousands of homeowners create meaningful savings.
If you've got any high-interest loans, American Financing can use your home's equity and roll that high-interest debt into one simple, affordable payment.
They're saving homeowners an average of $800 a month. Just think of what you could do with savings like that.
They offer real solutions to put you back in the driver's seat. It starts with one call, and it takes just 10 minutes to get started.
There are no upfront fees, and it doesn't cost anything to find out how much you could save. What are you waiting for? Plus, American Financing employs salary-based consultants, meaning they don't work off commission. They're just great people looking to help you save.
You may be able to close in as fast as 10 days, and you may be able to delay up to 2 mortgage payments by refinancing, creating more savings up front if you need it. But hey, just don't take our word for it. Check out their incredible reviews on Google.
Call today, 866-889-5022. That's 866-889-5022 or AmericanFinancing.net/door.
Call American Financing today to find out how customers are saving an average of $800 a month. 866-889-5022 or visit AmericanFinancing.net/door. NMLS 182334. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
This week's segment of Spot On, Spot Off is brought to you by Fox Factory Vehicles. They deliver the thrill. They have turnkey, hassle-free custom trucks and SUVs that are built to dominate any terrain, all while retaining their factory warranty. You can build and price out your dream ride today at foxfactoryvehicles.com. Fox Factory Vehicles, where performance meets precision. All right, The Athletic reports NASCAR owner Jim France was near a deal to fund a Spire car in a Cup Series race before a garage backlash.
Who is the backlash? And so what? So what? You know Jim France's background? What he does? The racing, all the racing he does besides? I mean, so what? Who cares? A business opportunity came. He was trying to help somebody out. Maybe Spire was going to do it. Maybe not. He might give us a little insight, but who cares?
That's interesting. I think the way, for me and Jeff, you can get into as many details or not if you want to on this. What this deal sounded like does not sound like a big deal to me. Where it seems like it's their sponsor, their driver. They're just bringing it to Spire. It's a fully. It's full Spire employees. You guys were preparing the cars, getting everything ready, and it was their sponsor, their driver. Is that correct?
I would say I looked at it like you looked at it, right? Or whatever. Because to me, I think what they really had was a messaging issue. I don't know. Because I think the whole garage just thought it was, not the whole garage, corners of the garage were thinking that it was, Jim's team, right? And Jim was going to do it. And, or Jim was giving us a car. Or there was something, where this legit was just like you've owned a team, right? Somebody calls you, says, hey, this is our driver. We got a sponsor. We think he'll be good at Sonoma. Can you do it? Like, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it.
What's the difference of him doing or Dale Jr. doing it?
What's
the difference?
Yeah.
Well, Dale Jr. doesn't own the sport.
It doesn't matter. Dale Jr. can own any sport if he wanted to.
Dale Jr. owns the sport.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you would be okay with a NASCAR team out there?
That's not what he was doing.
I'm asking you that.
That's not how he would do it. And that's not, again, if the message, and shame on whoever was going to put the important message out, the first message, but I don't know, who cares? The guy's involved in a lot of different stuff. If he wanted to help somebody out and a business opportunity came, so be it.
Yeah. I think the problem, and like you said, I think there's probably stuff that got lost in translation somewhere, where I think what in my opinion, and I didn't talk to any teams about this, obviously, but from my perspective of it, I think the only problem that I would have, and I don't even know that I would really be completely against it, is just the optics of a NASCAR team. Kind of like Rajah has his team. You see the backlash they got last week with all the Indy stuff. And now with our sport, you have to push the tolerances so far that if NASCAR has a team out there, they're going to fail tech sometime during the weekend. Whether it's pre-race, post-race, whatever it is.
What's the difference with Rajah?
You're going to
Rajah Penske.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about,
right?
That's what I'm talking about. Why would you want to put yourself in that position if you're Jim France?
Because he's a racer. He's a racer.
Okay.
He owns teams in other other divisions. Ben Kennedy owns teams. I mean, that's what they do. The France family, they race.
Yeah, look, there's to your point, if NASCAR was going to have their own team, they would be in the same boat as Rajah, right? And in that case, it's a different responsibility, right? It's your series. So, what's the biggest thing you got? Integrity, right? And credibility. So you almost have to have a standard higher than us, right? But that wasn't this deal. That's what that's why I felt like every person I was talking to, it was just, they'd be like, well, yeah, but it was always just like, well, what are they going to do if they go through this? Yeah, that's a good point. What are they going to do with this? You're right. But that wasn't this.
Yeah.
This was legit just me answering my phone. Saying, you know what I mean? Hey, we think the guy can do it. It wasn't like they were getting it for free. I mean, again, we can't afford to do it for free, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, man, that would work. But like all these other points, like, hey, they were doing this because they wanted to show that it wasn't as expensive as this or whatever. I'm like, man, I don't know that, and that's what I said to Gluck in that interview. I was like, man, I don't know it was that deep.
Yeah.
The guy wanted to go.
Your side of it. Yeah.
The guy just wanted to go racing. Now, again, the optics are the optics, and we all live in that world. And I probably could have done a better job of just thinking 4 steps ahead. But to me, it legit was just like any other deal. And
you would almost we would almost want Jim France to go through that whole thing of building a team and buying cars and doing everything to understand the cost. If he did it like that, we know he wasn't going to do it like that, but I think he would have a whole different.
That was my counter, just like even walking around the garage yesterday, right? And having just a couple conversations with other owners, and so it's like, hey, Jeff, I was not supportive of NASCAR owning charters. Okay, I'm not supportive of it. Was not supportive of it. I mean, it still made the deal, but I wasn't supportive of it, right? But I am supportive of them owning a team because of what Tommy just said. Clearly, there was some tension, if you will, going through the negotiations, right? And a lot of the frustration of the teams was like, man, this is how much this stuff costs, right? And again, I didn't really feel like Jim was never listening, but he had a job to do and we had a job to do. Maybe they believed it, maybe they didn't. I know how they would really believe it when they were looking at their own spreadsheets, and so that's the thing. Like, it just depends. Like, what's the angle? But for us in this case,
just to go race,
we're just
make
going
a little
racing.
money.
Yeah, we're just going
a
racing.
road racer do a road race.
That's right,
and be done with it.
That's right. Jim, they were never going to see how much it really cost for this race.
Race,
right? So that's where it was just kind of. But again, Tommy, I'm with you. Like, and if that's good or bad, I'm with you on this, right? It didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. It just felt like every other thing because Jim goes and races.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, again,
the guy walks through the garage. You don't even know he's there. Leave the guy alone. I mean, with he loves racing. I mean, if there's a modified race, he's standing behind my pit stall watching. He loves racing.
We had plenty of moments through the negotiation where Jim, I hope you're listening.
Somebody from over there is listening.
They clearly frustrated me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, clearly frustrated me, and it wasn't like we were afraid to say it, to their faces or anything like that. There's people that we fight with Monday through Thursday every week in this sport.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then you go to the racetrack, and your family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just kind of like, to me, it just, but I do have this saying that I'm clearly doing right here. If you're explaining, you're losing. And we were just, you find yourself just explaining it, not because of what was true, but what was not true.
What was perceived,
or what was perceived. And that's where you're just like, but truthfully, this deal was just, cool. Hey, can we go do this?
I want to do this.
Who's the driver?
And let me, I don't know if you can elaborate, but like, is this completely off the table? Is there a potential it still could even happen? Or is this just now where it's probably dead in the water just for this reaction?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be up to them. I mean, I'll tell you this much, driving over here, I was just like, we already have the car. I mean, I wish the race wasn't in Sonoma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because now we've got a car already built. We've got a, McCall was going to crew chief it. We had guys in the shop that were going. So the trucks were off. Yeah. So I'm just like, we've got everything now.
Everything in place.
I just wish it wasn't 4,000 miles away. But I'll tell you, seriously, on the drive over here, I'm like, man, I wonder if we could just go run that thing.
He's going to start throwing the wall again.
That's what
he just did. That's what he goes, man, I wonder. And then all these people are going
Somebody's
to
gonna be texting.
they're going to fix that wonder.
Well, I'm going to get that Italian road racer, Frankie Mooney.
All right. Number 2, Nashville Superspeedway puts on a good show for the fans. Spot on, spot off. Tommy?
Yeah, it was a good race. I thought it was good. I mean, it was some passing.
I know Freddie feels the opposite.
I mean, all right.
I don't feel the opposite completely. I just, to Jeff's point earlier, it was just so hard to pass. Especially, you look at the first beginning of the race, I don't know there was a pass in the top 15 for the first whatever amount of laps that run was before we started seeing some pit stops. It's just, and I don't know exactly what it was. You talk about our race. Our race, yes, we sped on pit road. We went to the back. We gained, I would say, 90% of our positions on pit road or restarts. We never really, I could probably count 10, 15 cars we passed all night just under green throughout a run, and it was probably at lap 35 or 40 of a run when our car was still pretty decent and other guys were falling off. Is that good? Yes. Maybe we need, I wish we had really long runs because that would make it that much better, because then you really got to manage your tires. Right now we talk about the stages. You know what you're doing. You're running half the stage, pitting, you're running the other half of the sstage. So you can kind of set your car up for that. You can kind of call your strategy for that. I think really long runs would have made it interesting, but you just see, I didn't see enough passing throughout the field. I felt like from lap 5 to lap 35, you were stuck, and then maybe if your car was decent on a long run, you may be able to get a couple at the end.
I thought it was, I think you're both right. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was a really good race, and it was clearly frustrating at times. Just, but everybody's so fast, man. Like, I don't know, like when you're saying that, I'm just like, I don't know what's a good race anymore then, right? Because it's like everybody is so good. We're all in the same kind of like tight window, but you're like, hey man, you got to wait 40 laps for people to fall off. Yeah, that's racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just racing. It's not always going to be,
Yeah. The frustrating thing for me, especially, you saw it, I felt like with the 19 and the 11 early, the 11 is clearly a much better car after 20 laps. And he runs him down, and he's just stuck, and you're just sitting there. Like for me, like if I was we talk about if I'm old school or whatever traditionalist, like for me the best car, you should be able to, if you got a better car, you should be able to go up there, either manipulate the guy in front of you, like we see with the Xfinity Series, where you can kind of get to his bumper, pack air, do whatever somehow. I think the problem with this car, we've said it, Kyle said it 100 times. I think some of the guys. We've flipped the roles to where it used to be able, if you were good enough, you could get up there and be aggressive with the guy in front of you, and you were on offense. Right now, it's like the guy in front's on offense, where he's on defense, but he's controlling what's going on because, and to your point, Jeff, it almost seems like to me the mile and a half was phenomenal with this car the first couple of years, and I'm concerned that I feel like we're falling backwards a little bit just because of. Everybody's getting so much better with the car. Everybody's the same damn speed now or close to it. So if we don't have that fall off late in the run, we would never see passing. So that my concern is we're too smart for our own good, because now we're all we're making the box smaller and smaller and smaller, where the faster we go, it's just going to continue to be harder to pass.
Look, I think it's harder for us also because, we talked about, expectation levels change on Monday and all that, right? So we race so much that, and you guys do your show every week, right? Everybody is. So we're all point to point. We're all week to week. It's the same car we had at Charlotte. You know what I mean? And that was, I don't know what you guys thought. I thought it was a badass race, right? So it's like some of it's car, some of it's track, It's like, I'm not saying like the car is perfect, but I mean, I think most of the mile and a half stuff is pretty great. Yesterday was just, Nashville's always to me been like this one groove. I thought it was going to widen out.
Yeah, it didn't widen out like it usually does. Danny had a theory about that. It really, without enough guys getting up there and racing, that it stayed dirty. It didn't it didn't widen out enough to where we all stayed on the bottom so long that we just kind of threw marbles and shit up there where it kind of never got cleaned off to where it would. And you could see it a little bit. Like we were decent really late in the run, maybe lap 35 to 40, where you could get up to that third lane and maybe just try to build a run. But all you're doing is trying to build a run to get under the guy for the next corner to get back to the bottom. So it was, Tommy, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you watched at home. How did it look on television?
Well, I was set up in my hotel room.
You had your own war room.
War room in a hotel room in Providence, Rhode Island last night. I was one computer short, unfortunately. But, yeah, I mean, it was – I mean, look, for the folks at home, Letarte has done he's really, really good, man, at explaining things and the outcomes and what's getting ready to happen and what's going on. That's the first time I've listened to him in a long time of a live – race. It's very entertaining for the fans of what him and Dale Jr. do. But I thought it was good. I watched a lot of in-car camera stuff. Guys were getting after it, man. There's watched a lot of steering traces. Them boys were loose.
Do you think some of it'd be curious what you guys did. Do you think some of it was day to night? Like the guys that were really good early, they were just, I know concrete's, allegedly not as, temperature specific, but it's like, do you think that had anything to do with those guys losing?
It probably did. I mean, the cooler it becomes, the more grip becomes available. And what that does, it makes the field closer, right? Because it opens the window of a ill-handling car. It helps it some. So that sometimes brings the field closer. But again, you touched on it, Freddie. I mean, there's 36 cars, 38 cars every week that are fighting for 150 thousandths of an inch tolerance, plus or minus. That's what we're working on around the whole race car right now, right? So everybody's honing in to their setups now because we've run all intermediate tracks now for a little bit. Setups are getting pretty close. Everybody's getting comfortable. Everyone's doing the same things. Everybody's refining on those setups. So, yeah, you're going to have closer racing. Yeah.
And while you're getting the setups closer, you're also sharing everybody's data with each other. So the drivers are seeing what other drivers are doing, how to approach it. The drivers are getting closer as the cars are getting closer. It's just, and it's tires related, obviously. We see, Blaney, again, he's the best car in a long run. He doesn't even need left side tires to do it.
He didn't even need tires that one run. He could have ran the whole thing and been still the fastest car on the track. But on Saturday, it showed it as well. I mean, he was really, really good on Saturday in practice. He was P1 in every statistic, of lap 5, lap 10, lap 20, long run, so we knew he was going to be the guy to beat eventually.
And to your point, Jeff, I think the race would be better if it, man, it's miserable to stand up there, this, but the race would be better at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon there because it would be hot and slick, I feel like, and it would, that
was the first time in my life I've been there.
And not want to die.
That it was not 140 degrees. And you probably, I know you felt it, Freddie. It was like, it felt like we got about halfway. It actually got like 20 degrees cooler because I thought it was about to start pouring.
It definitely cooled down quite a bit. But yeah, and to your point, them guys, I think, it's kind of like we talked about. You could see early in the race, there was cars that were really good and there was cars that were maybe not so good but had track position. The Roush cars kind of stood out to me early where they were in the top 10, but they were kind of holding people up. We had run down Brad. We had to be rough to get around him, but you had to take opportunities when they were there. But then, I wasn't surprised to see them kind of towards the back later on in the race because I felt like they didn't really have a lot of speed. The 19 was one, like the 54. Them guys, it felt like just once they lost track position, once how it is. If you could be running in the top 5, and if you have a bad deal, you're stuck. Because even our deal, we were stuck until the last I don't know, 100 laps. We were 25th, 26th the whole time until we had one good pit stop that jumped us. We had that long run. We were able to drive to just about the top 20, I think. Then we had a pit stop that jumped us to 12th from like 18th. And then from there, we could kind of go race on restarts. We drove to 8th, and then just some strategy at the end. Really, I mean, I know it looks good on paper, but it looks like we drove through the field. And Larson kind of followed us through. It really was not just outright speed. It was really, really good call, really good pit stops, good strategy calls where we jumped a couple guys on strategy, and then Bubba had one really good restart where he gained like 5 spots, and then that's it. Those are you just made up your 15 spots right there, and it's like, wow, there was passing. Look, Bubba went from 29th to 6th, and you're like, yeah, but I mean, it looks good, but that's not really how it went down. But it's.
But you see it.
It's not bad. I mean, we definitely had high points. The racing between the 24, the 11, and the 12 was great at the end of that one stage. It's just, maybe I'm being greedy. I don't know.
There's only like 3 or 4 cars that can come through the field all the time, every week, right? I mean, even 2-3 weeks ago, the 5 car, as he worked himself back to 4th, 5th, I forget what race it was, 6th, he was done.
Yeah.
Right. He was. Look at Brad, even at Wilkesboro, right? He was fastest car, right? Time trials, right? In qualifying, won the heat race. But as soon as he got to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all of a sudden, boom! I mean,
you can't stress enough.
It is hard. Track position is everything.
It's everything, yeah. But that's kind of my problem with the whole thing.
When hasn't it been? We just never knew about it. We never paid attention about it. I mean, back then, our cars were a mile in the air. We were running soft tires. We were popping tires. We were doing all kinds of different things. But the world's changed, man. I mean, Goodyear probably could make a little bit softer tire for there too. I mean, I hate keep harping on it, right? The horsepower. I mean, there's 2 ingredients sitting right there on our table, right, that need to be tweaked to make our sport even better than it is.
And we saw some movement this week, or I think it was this week or last week, where Elton, I think, was the one that mentioned, 750 could be on the table as soon as this year from the ownership side or the competition director side. Where are you guys in those conversations, or is that something that obviously I think everybody wants it? Is it something that you guys are pulling for?
I'm selfish, and again, I don't know that the product's that bad, right? Like that's what and some of that's because I think we're running good, and I think we've got some stuff figured out. So I don't want to screw it up, but the horsepower part of this is I think NASCAR sometimes gets put in this box like it's them tamping it down. It's not NASCAR tamping it down. Don't be mad at NASCAR. Be mad at us, right? Because when you guys say increased horsepower, I hear
increased money.
Increased money, and it's you see how much money it takes for us to develop 3 horsepower or 1/10 on the stopwatch. Going 750 to 950 or whatever it is, or 6, wherever we're at, and keep going up. I mean, be careful what we wish for, also, but to me, 675, 750,
we can increase 100 horsepower without any cost pretty easily.
Yeah, and listen, I remember this. I don't know if
how much do you think it helps?
I think it would help the race a little bit. I think it would help burn the tires up a little bit, and off throttle, on throttle control will change, especially on the short tracks. I would love to see it at Richmond. I would love to see it at Richmond. I think you would see a really, really good race. But yeah, I don't.
But I mean, I'm talking going 675 to 950. I clearly believe. I clearly agree with you.
Yeah.
Right. 750. I'm just like,
That's just one little change.
And to your point, Reddick had mentioned this years ago, maybe a year ago. I can't remember. He was in the sim and said, like, I know we all want more horsepower, but we need a bigger step than what you think to make a big difference. He's like, we can make a difference probably if you go to 750. He's like, but it's not like end all be all. Let's just going to cure every problem. He's like, you're talking. You probably need to get near 1,000 if you want to holy. These guys are dropping. Well, I'm just saying, but he's saying, if you want to see a holy difference on the racetrack, that it's not a small fix. It's something where you need to take a big step. But obviously, I just said forever. I just said, well, just if it's not that hard of a change, if it's not super cost effective to the teams, and it's kind of an easy change, just do it to shut people up. Like okay, you've been begging for 750. Here's 750. And so let's see what it looks like. And even if it's a test, whatever it is, just here. Let's do this and show you either it works or it doesn't, and we can go back to the drawing board after that.
The problem with it all is it's always good in the beginning, but the garage will figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. In 2-3 races, then it's going to be back to being the same, right? Because that's what happens. We figure things out, right?
Too smart for our own good.
Yeah.
All right, aggressive pit strategy is what Blaney and his team needed to do to finally win a race. Spot on, spot off. Fred.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a great call by Jonathan there in the first stage for sure. They were decent. They were behind us. I would say they were running 13th, 14th, and the two Penske cars stayed out, ran long. Came in at the stage break, put 2 tires on, and cycled up to, I think, top 3 at that point. They were leading. I think they lost the lead on a restart, but they stayed top 3 pretty much the rest of the night from there, Tom. I mean, how hard is that? I mean, that's just, get off sequence. But how hard is that to do from the pit box where you're just like, early in the race, too? Like, I sometimes I think, like, you feel like, if you're seeing how the race is playing out, okay, I can't beat these guys on raw speed. I got to get off strategy. It seemed like they must have been married to this right off the bat.
Well, I think it all was figured out after Saturday, right? You look how long the 12 ran on Saturday, how many laps he did, right? And a lot of information gets put into the computer, and the tire wears, the air pressure buildups, the speed. I'm sure they were calculating from practice to the race of the speed drop off, right? What it did. So that started on Saturday, how good the car was. Look, you can't do that type of stuff unless the car is good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if the car's not good, you can try it, but it's only going to get you and probably other people in trouble. So they had a plan. I mean, they knew it, and I'm sure the 22 looked at all the 12 stuff, right, after practice, felt comfortable with the situation that they were going to do it as well. So, I mean, it was good teamwork, right?
Yeah. And Jeff, I don't think you can ever be spot off. I mean, we can be because they beat us. But, how, for your side of it, though, how aggressive do you want your crew chiefs to be? Because sometimes, listen, there's a risk where, it could burn you at some point. How aggressive do you want your guys to be? Is that something you take into consideration when you're hiring crew chiefs, how aggressive they've been in the past or how they call races?
Well, look, some of it's awareness in the moment, quick, right? And and you said it earlier, like we all could look in the first stage. You could all look that, if you had SMT or anything rolling, you could see that we're all going the same speed. So that's where it's like I really give the 12 and 2. The 7 was going to be on the same strategy.
Yeah.
We just sped on pit road. But it's like, the crew chief's there in the moment that can see it, and be like, man, because that won him the race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they never gave it back, really. I mean, they were just up there the rest of the way. I wouldn't say that I encourage them to be aggressive. It's like they all have, you guys have your own personalities. I think whatever your personality is on Thursday is what your personality is going to be on Sunday. So like you got somebody like Sparks, I told him on the plane ride home, I go, you're the only crew chief in the world that your driver speeds on pit road. You're like, yes.
Yeah, I can do some different stuff.
I can do some different stuff. But, like with him and Travis, I mean, I don't think there's anybody that, A, loves to run long, and B, will gamble. So I've got 2. I think I got 2 of the 3 guys that just like love to.
Yeah, Travis,
keep it interesting.
They were doing that a lot at the 34 even. You could see that. But it's just, like you said, it's in the moment.
Yeah, when you're running mid-pack and you have to. You have no choice but to try and gamble. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But you don't, a lot of times on Sundays, you don't know if you have a good car until you get up front in clean air to see. But
if you're 10th off running 20th, like, I think those guys were, like, you're like,
yeah, getting clean air, I'm going to be good.
I'm going to be really great.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I think sometimes it's like, you see what the 12 did. There's, 30 other crew chiefs that are like,
why did I do that?
I had the same.
Yeah.
Like, what
Oh, yeah. Why didn't
why
I
am
do
I
that?
so why am I so soft? I should have just.
Yeah, why didn't I do that?
They're not going to fire me for this. Just let me stay out. Let me try something.
And listen, Tommy, I think you kind of mentioned it earlier. Traffic, the 12's been the best car in traffic, I think, all year. I don't know if that's Ryan, if it's team.
12
obviously
and the 11.
Yeah. But, I mean, even the 11 struggled a little bit yesterday. The 12, I feel like, all year long has been able to just kind of cut through traffic. even when it's in places where you feel like when nobody's passing, he's in a different lane and he's cutting through the field.
I'm up there watching, right? There is a difference between the two of them on how far they look in order to pass. They are starting to pass that guy 2 laps before they get to him. It's amazing to watch. I know it's hard to see it on TV. It's hard to look at it if you're not knowing what you're looking at. But I watch Ryan set up cars 2 laps before he's getting ready to go by him. You watch most everybody else drives up behind the guy, then doesn't know what to do, then loses 2 car lengths. Then Ryan just does a better job than everybody out there setting people up. Plain and simple.
Yeah. And you saw he kind of laid in the wings at the end of that stage where, the 11 and the 24 started racing the hell out of each other, and he just let them get side by side, built his run, and got clear. He just cleared both of them in one corner, and I don't think we ever passed him again. Or maybe once on a restart he got the lead right back, but it's just that, like you said, that just leads into your example there. He just kind of sits there and goes, "Okay, you guys go ahead and take care of each other, and I'll just scoop by on the apron down here and wave and pass them all in 1-2."
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. says contact with Hocevar, quote unquote, wasn't out of the norm for him and said he's going to have to do something about it at some point. Should I start with Jeff?
Sure.
Well, hold on. Let's start with me. Because I want to ask Jeff this question. Okay. What do you guys talk about? What do you guys talk to, when he gets in these situations? What do you say? You guys are like...
In the moment or afterwards?
Yeah, after. You guys just tell him keep going and you're going to figure it out, or you go, man, you got to work on things?
So it's double-edged sword. Yeah. Right. And here's full transparency. Here's what I said. Man, you didn't need to do that. You just didn't need to do that. It wasn't going to cost him anything to let Ricky back in line. I just wish he would have cut him a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's to me. And I got I have a personal relationship with Ricky, and so I don't want that to cloud it. I'm like, man.
Plus, it hurt my pick.
Help me out.
Here, our pool.
Now I hear the edge.
Now you got it.
Yeah, but it's the year the 47's having is not being talked about enough. You know what I mean? Like Ricky's I think he was like 15th in points or 13th in points.
He was 13th going in.
Yeah,
now he's out.
He's 18th.
So that sucks because it's just like he's really doing it. But like in those moments, right? I'm just like, man, we just you can't do that. And because you're trying to teach, it's the same thing. It's like you're trying to teach 3 years down the road. You're trying to teach 3 months down the road, because it's a fine line, Tommy. Because there's a part of it where the whole thing to me is kind of absurd. I'm not trying to slow him down because let's talk about you're talking about Blaney. So Blaney running the 12 for Roger Penske, right? Carson running the 77 for my dumbass.
Yeah. But isn't that cool though?
No, I'm just saying.
Like, so
like
badass.
how absurd. Yeah, but like how absurd is it, right? So people are just like, hey, you got to do this, or hey, you got to do that. I hear you. I don't want them wrecking, people. I think Carson, all the good ones, when they were younger, they're just putting people in bad spots. There's plenty of times I go to Carson, I'm just like, 35-year-old Carson is not going to be cool with what you just did or what you just said. And the younger guys can help themselves a little bit more by acknowledging mistakes. Like I don't know, like this invincible, like they all think they're invincible. And
accountability is a hell of a situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like they don't know that it's. This isn't a Carson thing. I just think in general, it's like they're too young to know that it's cool to like be like, man, I that up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
And that's where I wish they would help themselves more. But again, with like, I want to teach Carson how it is, quote unquote. I'm not trying to change him. Like my issues. I was actually saying this to somebody this week. But they were like, man, Carson. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, it does this on the track or whatever. I go, I don't have an issue with that. I'd like him to show up to a competition meeting on time. You know what I mean?
Dress properly, maybe.
Yeah, and so like stuff like that, right? Like those are the things where, as a team owner, hey, I want him to do that. I certainly don't want to get in, car crashing contests out there, right? And Ricky to me is a guy that, like, he's not going to wreck our car. He's just going to go beat the hell out of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which is how it probably should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's tough, Tommy, because it's like, I've been either super lucky or super cursed to work with some really fast, outsized personalities in my time, right?
You could say that.
It's a really great way to put it.
And like that's the thing. It's just like, me talking to Kyle Busch now is different than me talking to Kyle Busch at 19 and 20. And there's a lot of similarities. I know, Kyle, if you're listening, you hate me saying this. There's a lot of similarities between those two. But you can't get it until you go through it, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's just like being a parent. Sometimes your kid just wants to shut his hand in the car door to see if it hurts, right? And sometimes you just got to let them. But, and it's funny, Tommy, because you're saying that, is Luke can be the same way. Like, Luke's fast. You know what I'm saying? And so you're just like, okay, he's got the part I can't teach. Now, how do I teach him the rest of it?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's, so every moment is a teaching moment, for Carson. Or for Luke, or for any of these guys, because it's the same thing. Like, when Carson does something absolutely stupid, I sometimes blame myself, because I'm like, we took him out of a truck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, It wasn't like he had, 3 years in the Xfinity Series or something like that. Like, we legit were just like, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a thing where I can say it, and we are saying it, Tommy. We're saying it all the time. It's just, does he believe it?
When is it going to click?
Yeah, when's it going to click, and does he believe it?
Yeah.
And I keep saying it's just like, if you just will listen, I could save you, probably 3 or 4 years of heartache.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't know how much, because I think he was already, or obviously already in the Spire fold, but when he came here to race, JRM being here, and the first thing Dale said to him was like, "You're not coming over here to crash my." Like, he's like, I'm excited to meet my hero, Dale Jr. And the first word is like, you've been driving like a you're not going to crash my stuff like you do everybody else's. That was like, oh, wait a minute. And I felt like for a while he kind of got better. That's when he started winning those truck races 2 years ago, whatever it was. And I see it just kind of trending back sometimes. But this was not like an egregious move, I don't think. Again, obviously, I don't think it needs to happen. I think you're making an enemy that you don't need to make.
Yeah, you don't need to.
And it's just, but part of it, I will say, was the product on the racetrack, because it was so hard to pass. If you got to run, I saw Kyle Busch was a great example last night. Super aggressive on entry, just because if you didn't take, we had to do it to Brad. I say we had to do it. That was the only way we're going to get around. We didn't have to do it, but that was the only way you were going to get around by somebody, is just kind of bonsaiing the entry and just getting a nose there, and then just kind of running him up the hill, because if not, you were going to be stuck behind that guy for the next 20 laps. Yeah. So I think a little bit it's a product on the racetrack, which we see Carson do it at a lot of racetracks, so you can't really blame the racetrack. But just to me seemed like it's just unnecessary is the big thing.
Well, look, there's a this is going to sound totally Homer for a minute.
It's okay.
I watch every lap. Like, I'm up on the roof. I watch him every lap. There's a difference to me on like what he did to the 12 at Atlanta than what happened with the 47 yesterday. And the thing I say to Carson, certainly about the thing with the 12, which was an accident. Like, I don't know if he was putting lipstick on in the mirror or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just like he runs right in the back of the 12 and spins him out. And so, Tommy, what I say to him in those moments is, somebody's going to run in the back of you on accident, right, and ruin your day. And I want you to have the wherewithal in that moment not to dog cuss that guy, because it was an accident.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's, I think for younger guys, like, I think that's the biggest thing, is just like, don't make it where it's just, hey, what's good for me? Because after about 20 accidents, it's not. But I don't think, Freddie, I'm sure if you guys could probably come up with a highlight video right now of him wrecking all these people this year, but it's just like, I don't feel it's like, I feel he puts people in bad spots more than he's like wrecking them.
I think for me, the two and maybe it's just because it's the most recent, the deal with Priest at Texas, where he kind of they just just both got into kind of a pissing match where nobody was going to lift. Was it Texas where he ran him in the fence off of 2? You know, that was one I was like, that seemed like it was avoidable. There was like just too much commitment there for not a lot of reward. And then this one, but like to me, even this one,
Charlotte.
Actually, about 5 of them just popped in my mind. But yeah,
It's all coming back to you now.
like you know, like the thing where like the 17 at Martinsville is in my, you know, the deal with the 60 at Martinsville. Like those, there's things that are just kind of like racing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm doing that backwards. I think with the 60 at Martinsville, he could have done something about that deal at Texas. You know, again, we've seen that a million times. The guy gets on your right rear off 2. You know, first of all, you're right. Carson's got to lift. Somebody's got one of those 2 has got to lift because they destroyed both of their days.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's the thing. I think for these guys, it's like you can't teach them. You can say it on the radio. You've coached up guy. You know, we can all say it on the radio. Hey, man, big picture, big picture. I don't know what happens. Visor goes down. It's like big picture. I gotta, you know, I'm gonna race the hell out of this guy for 21st. But that's the, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's just like it's hard to.
The problem for me, and Tommy, I mean, you can comment on this, and I feel like like Carson's track record, he's never going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This deal might not be that big a deal if it's Chris Buescher that's running in the back of Stenhouse, because he's, you know, generally a very clean race car driver. So it's
Chris
like,
is
oh, that's
great,
a mistake. Yeah. But, you know, Carson does it, and it's like, this kid's just running somebody else over, you know? I
think young drivers in the truck series need to understand. And this is what Carson kind of taught me inadvertently. The Cup guys aren't on the racetrack with you anymore on Fridays and Saturdays. You know, we can talk about that. I think that's a thing I wish the Cup guys could go down there, because I think it does actually teach those guys. But the thing is that those Cup guys are now in their motorhome watching the race.
Yeah,
like they are paying attention. You know, so like when Carson does something back in the day, if he did something stupid in the truck race, I just remember like Martin Truex Jr. or somebody like had tweeted something. And I mean, he don't even know where the truck garage is at. But what I'm saying is like they've got an opinion
They've already
now.
got an opinion, yeah.
They have an opinion. And that's the thing that I wish the young guys would understand, is like, just because, you know, I mean, Kyle actually does run the truck races, right? But it's just like, just because they're not in the race doesn't mean, you know, that they don't.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is, I mean, he's young, and everything but Cup, you kind of get away with what he did, right? Because people will either move over or get intimidated a little bit. Oh, he's coming. Well, none of the Cup drivers care, right? Right? They're not going to lift, right? They're not going to put. First of all, usually Carson's putting everybody in those positions, right? It's not. He's not getting and put in any position that's causing a wreck. He's the one that's doing it. Mm-hmm. He's just not slow down, but slow down.
Yeah, but those
up here, he needs to slow down just up here.
I mean, again, you watch the way the 12 car passes people. Well, why doesn't he pay attention to that and slow down a little bit and pass them the same way?
But that's the part of it, Tommy, where it's like, if we all go back in our time machine, they were all at Ryan. You know what I mean? Yeah. They were just like, you know, hey, why doesn't Ryan do this? And again, that's like, we could say it. You know what I mean? They're going to figure it out. Yeah, they can figure it out on their timeline or our timeline. Yeah. You know, but like last year through the playoffs, it was like, again, it was like this moment. I was up on the roof, and Carson had a bad previous week, whatever had happened. But that didn't stop. This is like in the playoffs, like round of 8. You know, I think we were at Homestead or something like that. Bubba was still in it. Tyler was still in it. The 24 was still in it. All these guys were, you know, still in it, I think. I mean, they were putting their championship. I know they might not like him, right? But I do think that they respect him.
Yeah.
Because they were you can cuss on here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were him during the week. You know what I mean? But then legit putting their championship in his hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where, to me, I was like, okay, they know he can drive. He maybe just needs to figure out that that's actually a sign of respect, so you don't have to do it every, you know, because I think that's the other thing is like, these guys they're just trying to prove they belong, right? They're just trying to prove that, like, you know, hey, I can do this. Maybe that's the thing that for some of these young guys, it's just like, hey, you're good, you know. So
and to your point, you know, it's it's a little bit of hard-headedness, not just on Carson's part. It's on some of the guys that race him, like like you're talking about the deal with Texas. Them guys don't like each other, so now they're gonna race the hell out of each other. Bubba, knock on wood, we haven't had any issues with Carson. And Bubba says, as long as you know what you're getting, you know how to race. You know he's going to put you in a bad spot, just like we're going to put him in a bad spot if we get the opportunity, because we're both aggressive drivers. Ricky's obviously really aggressive, trying to defend that spot because he knows he doesn't want us to be stuck behind Carson for the next 20 laps. So sometimes it's on both of the guys to be ready. For me, it's part of my job. Especially plate racing. I remember Atlanta. There's a couple places where Carson's really, really aggressive, but I know it's coming. I know he's going to force the middle if the middle's available. I know he's going to force the top. So it's part on spotters, maybe on drivers to know who you're racing with and know what you're going to get. Now, doesn't absolve him of making mistakes, but if you expect a guy to be aggressive, maybe race him accordingly, and you'll find yourself in less trouble.
If you look back in the year so far, if he didn't overdrive and make mistakes, where would you be?
It's a good. That's actually, Tommy,
right.
We talked about that, yesterday. It's like all of a sudden when you sit there in tech and you see you're 17th in points, it's not the top fives that we have right now. It's those 35th.
Engines, yeah.
Forget about the engine.
Take the engines
just
out of
saying
it.
But forget about that, all the dumb stuff
he's
he's done all year.
Yeah.
Now, what's the trade-off? That's the thing he needs to understand, right? I mean, he needs to understand that there's wins and losses during the race, right? There's
Absolutely.
wins and losses after 15 weeks, right, of the gains of positions of not doing dumb things. But, man, I watched the kid walk through the garage. He just doesn't – he has no sense. I'm sorry. He just walks, gets his food, is in his shorts, is in his T-shirt. Here he goes. Back to the motorhome or wherever he goes. It's like, kid he just wants to go race.
Kid.
Yeah, he just wants to go race, man.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Well, the other way to say that, Tommy, would be we have to raise our floor. I think like making the playoffs.
I mean, look how clean you are. Can't you get him dressed up a little bit better?
You just don't want to kill the kid in him, Tommy. You know what I mean? But I do have that kind of talk with him where it's just like, hey, that's a really good point. The way I say it to him is we have to raise our floor. Again, I don't take the engines and, stuff out of it. That stuff you can't really control. You can control how you can conduct yourself on that racetrack, right? You can control how you race. And that's where it's like we need to, because I think it's at that age, it's actually getting through adversity. I think this is, again, I don't think this is specific to Carson. If something goes wrong, like on Sunday, just like you yesterday, and you got 500 miles to make it all back up.
Yeah.
Like just stay plugged in. That's the part that I try to work on, a lot with him, but it's he does care. That's the thing. It bothers me because I there's been plenty of interviews over the last few weeks, right, where people are coming to me and being like, "Man, Carson's just kicking ass," right? I mean, guy doesn't work at it, doesn't do this, he doesn't give it, doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like just look at him or whatever. It couldn't be farthest from the truth. He actually got hired for his work ethic. He actually got hired for all the sim time he was doing. Like he acts like he doesn't look at shit.
Yeah.
He's looking at everything. Again, we talked about it at the start here, right? It's just like he's just at that age where he doesn't think it's cool to study.
To say
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where it's just like, because I'm with you, man. You see him walking through the garage or whatever, and you're just like, who let the homeless kid in? You know what I mean?
Well,
but the sponsors love him.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
I'm
saying.
glad
Like he's
you. That's why I led you into it, because I know how much he studies, because he's the only one that hangs out with his crew chief all night long, all day long. If whatever that you guys usually stay in the same hotels, same areas, they're hanging out, man. They're sitting down, they're talking. I know he cares.
Well, when you see him walking through the hall, you see him walking through the garage, and you're just like, man, what is this doing? You know what he's doing? We have an iRacing rig upstairs in our hauler.
Yeah.
And so, like, this idiot, will be there in the middle of the night. I'm just like, how do you sneak in? You know what I'm saying? But he's up there on the rig.
Yeah.
Like, he ran the Nashville Cup race probably on Saturday night. I'm just saying, like, you're just like, that's the part I wish people would see. Because if you just looked at him, you'd just be like, oh, man, look at him. Or yesterday after the after, got into the 47. Of course, they go right to the end car. Got his visor up, not tearing the world, right? I'm just like, Ricky's going to kill you. And he's just like, hey, what's up?
Just hanging out.
And so, like, there's something, like, super awesome about that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it certainly makes all of us kind of, like, laugh about it. But there's, it just gives off the wrong thing because I know how much he cares. I know how much he works at it. I just wish everybody else did because he didn't get put in the cup car at 21 or 22 just because he was fast, right? He did it because you could see where the sport was going. They're always in the sim. We have more sim time than we have track time. He loves it. Like all this guy does is do racing, every day of the week.
That's like all his social media is him iRacing at home or iRacing in the hauler or iRacing.
Yeah, and the Dale truck. He's got the Dale truck.
And that Dale truck.
Yeah, everything is just like
goofy.
It's just it's on brand.
Yeah.
Carson, anything got you fired up this week?
No, I'm actually quite the opposite. I'm quite tired.
You're quite you're just ready to go to bed. Fired up because you didn't get any sleep.
Yeah. No, I mean, nothing crazy happened this weekend besides those kids swatting each other over 8th place. So, I mean, nothing really to be fired up about over here.
We can probably
for
get
me.
to that. We could probably save that for a certain topic at the end.
Oh,
I'm sure it'll get mentioned.
Well, as always, Spot On, Spot Off was a lot of fun, a lot of great opinions. We want to give a big thanks again to our friends at Fox Factory Vehicles for bringing us that segment. And, man, they are delivering the thrill for drivers who demand the best.
No doubt, Carson. Their fully custom, turnkey, hassle-free trucks and SUVs are built to dominate any terrain and retain their full factory warranty. Whether you're heading to the track or the trail, these rides are ready. No do-it-yourself, no delays. Carson, I know you are looking for a vehicle. Maybe we get you going. Where would we take a Fox Factory truck?
I'm jealous of Wyatt. He's getting to run his off-road truck all the time, jumping trucks and stuff. So maybe I need one of these. I could kind of get my fix.
Maybe this is your way into
this
the
could
off-road
be my
world.
foot in the door of yeah. But if you want to feel the rush, you can kick it into overdrive. They have optional supercharged models and unleash the power. I think they look like a lot of fun.
Just this is what you need is a supercharged truck that you're hitting jumps with.
I don't think the
I
law.
think that might be fine for most people. I don't
Maybe
know.
not me.
Maybe we don't give you the supercharged version.
Maybe I take the ones to the track, not the trail.
with Fox Factory Vehicles, you're in the driver's seat. Head to foxfactoryvehicles.com to build and price your next dream ride. Available through partnering dealerships nationwide, Fox Factory Vehicles brings the precision and performance you've been dreaming of. Visit foxfactoryvehicles.com today and take the wheel.
I'm excited for Reaction Theater, though, because I had to miss it last
I know
week.
Blaney, the Blaney fans, I am assuming, called in.
I'm in the bathtub right now. I switched my toaster for soap. Sydney Sweeney soap, to be exact. Go 12!
Did you see? Do you know what he's talking about?
No.
Oh,
Sydney
yeah.
Sweeney is selling soap that has her bathwater in it.
What?
Or something like that, right? You know what I'm talking about, Tommy?
Yeah.
How the
I
hell, first
texted
of all,
that to you
did
last
you?
week. Yeah, I said I missed my calling.
You
Did
think
you
there
get my
would've been
text?
I don't know.
I said,
I ignore a lot of your text messages.
Why didn't I think about that?
You think there would have been a big market for Tommy Baldwin?
Soap? You never know, right?
It comes with Gojo and
Gojo.
I put my toaster away, sat down and cried today. I just called to say that Blaney won Nashville.
Great song.
Like I could sing on Broadway, probably.
I feel like I heard a rendition of that a few times.
I think I met him.
Yeah. All right. We got one more Blaney fan.
Yes! About time for these Blaney boys! I'm getting laid tonight!
He's like a cross between Rowdy and Blaney.
He can't decide if he's
A Rowdy fan.
Hey. I didn't realize how many relationships were
Riding on all
riding
this.
on the who wins the race on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't. Let's see if Bubba wins. I'm
It's
gonna
no
have
way to live.
Are they what's Bubba's relationship status of his fans of what's going on?
We're okay now. They were for about a month there. They were trying to get in the toaster bath
with Blaney's fans?
Blaney's fans,
Oh,
I
my
think.
Lord.
But yeah, I think we turned the corner last night. Hopefully, we can keep it going in the right direction.
Holy smokes. I don't know what's faster, these jackmen on pit road or a single guy cleaning when a girl texts them and says, I'm on my way.
So
was
true.
that?
That is true. That is true. I had a guy. I'll tell it. It's J.R. Bertuccio.
Oh boy.
He's a local modified racer, bit of a maniac, and we were at Pub 44 in New Smyrna Beach, running New Smyrna, and we would go over there. And we would go. You'd leave the racetrack, go to the pub, and the pub would play the races. They would bring in the cassettes from the track, and they would play the races on all the TVs in the bar. When we would all start fighting again about everything that happened in the modified races. But anyway, so we were hanging out. It's getting close to closing time. Well, JR is trying to hook up with one of the bartenders or servers or something. So next thing I know, like, we're getting ready to leave. Now I'm waiting on JR. Megan's gonna drive us all home probably or something. And JR has the vacuum out. And he's running around Pub 44
Helping her
cleaning up because he wants her to be able to leave. I was like, what the hell is going on around here?
Maybe she was just trying to use it up, get him to help clean the place up, and then
man,
nothing for him.
That was a night.
What the hell is going on with Bubba Wallace and the rally stash? That ain't it, brother.
I walk in the hall yesterday and I'm like, what is on your face? And he's like, gotta do something, bro. We ain't finished a race in a month. And now we, of course, finished sixth.
Yeah,
That was a pretty good
week.
race. So now it's going to be at least another week of it, I'm sure. But I'm like, it's not quite a porn stash. I don't know what it's just, it's something.
He'll have her all doctored up by the
Oh, I'm
by the end
sure.
of the
I
week.
wanted to get, you need to get it long enough where you can just start like
Yeah.
curling
Curl
and
it up.
stuff. Yeah.
Everybody used to love how Earnhardt raced and all that. Soon as Hocevar does it, just gives old Ricky the old nos push right there, and everybody starts throwing a little hit. Dude, Hocevar is a driver.
Was this you? Did you call in?
Yeah, it sounded like you.
I could have given the number. I called in. No, I mean, again, I think sometimes what's good for the fans isn't always what's good on the track. You know what I mean? And I think, it's entertainment for them, and, it's real life consequences, for us. But I hear you, man. You're trying to teach these things when the fans love him, right? The sponsors love him.
Yeah.
Right? You got everybody being like, don't change. And you're like, yeah, I'm not trying to change you. We just got to change this, so.
Yep.
You guys, love everybody on the show, but every time Tommy does an ad read, this is what I think is going on in his head.
I
could be on pit road beating somebody's ass right now. Where's my pierogies?
Where's my pierogi? You Polish now?
I guess. I don't even know if I've ever had a pierogi.
You had a pierogi? They got them at Big Al's. You can go try one.
Oh, and they're
boy.
so good. Oh, my God. All right. Well, to leave an audio message 24/7, you can call our number at 704-802-9572, and we will play the best ones each week on the show.
Hey, it's Dale Jr. Did you know that we've got brand new merch from our Stars, Stripes, and Beers collection available now? We've got tanks, tees, beach towels, and more just in time for summer. Check it all out at shop.dirtymomedia.com.
Now it's time for Ask DBC. So you can send in your questions on X each week. And I guess this first one kind of could be for an opinion of Jeff, but also you idiots also. What's next for Rajah? And will he have a chance to race Xfinity and or Cup in the future?
That's for you, man.
Yeah,
That's your guy.
Sticking him in a cup car yet, or?
I think Rajah's deserving of going up. To me, it was that Bristol truck race in the fall last year. Because Raj started with us, left, and then came back. And you're seeing, you saw glimpses, but like just like Saturday, or Friday night, he was running in the top three against like real, guys that you would look at and be like, those kids are going to be cup drivers, soon. And so for me, Jeffy G had said, hey, what do you think? And I'm just like, man, I think this kid might actually, make it. This is a long answer to just be like, yeah, he probably should be in an Xfinity car,
But you moved Carson from the trucks to Cup. You thinking he could skip Xfinity since Xfinity cars drive so much? I think the trucks drive closer to the Cup cars than Xfinity. So what are you thinking as a group? I mean,
so some of it is, with Carson, it was also like the timing kind of synced up.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, okay. And I think also we were kind of like a different organization then where it's just like you could roll the dice and see what's up. I wouldn't be opposed, to throwing Raj out there. They have their own, they make their own decisions too, right? But But I don't know, Tommy. I mean, it's just, I think the next step for him, because again, the other part here you have to look at is just like he, was sim racing. I mean, like it wasn't like he's got thousands of laps. Actually, it's kind of funny. It was last year they were like, hey, do you think we should? The Hendrick guys were just like, hey, what do you think about maybe popping him up? I'm like, that'd be great, but we also need to kind of like pop him down. I think he would really benefit from running cars races and like the hand to hand combat, because that's the part he didn't, to me anyway, that he didn't have.
Right.
So, and also for these young kids in Cup, I mean, it's hard. I mean, like this is like, it's super hard. And I think, I think Jesse Love is really, really good. And I think Corey Heim is really, really, really good. But it's like, you see Jesse on Saturdays to Sundays, and it's like, man, he's driving his ass off for like 34th.
Well,
and I think that's
because the first thing they're doing is they're racing the race on Sunday. There's no more testing. There's no, the rookies aren't getting any on-track experience before having to experience the race. So it's hard.
Yeah, and we talk about how tight the field is and how good the drivers are. So if you're out there and if you're a couple tenths off, you're mid-30s. You know what I mean? Like it seems like
you're not far off. Like again, I also think it's just like with Carson, I felt like we could pop him up there and hope it worked. I think Raj, similar to a lot of guys, is just like, man, you only get one chance. You know what I mean? I think that's where you got to be deliberate about, hey, what is the next step? And, we've talked about running them in Xfinity cars here. We've talked about, trying to run them up at RCR or something like that, just to kind of like get them, get them out there. But Raj can do it. It's just a matter of getting them more laps and more nights like Friday night.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and like you said, the talent's there.
I mean, what do you think?
I think he's good.
Yeah.
I think he's got everything to be able to be successful all the way up. I just, like you said, I think he needs more laps. I laughed at Eddie.
Eddie's.
Yeah, Eddie's
So
spot.
you got the whole damn. You got
my
whole
whole
It's like Yankee Doodle Dandy over there.
They had the in-car camera with Eddie telling him, man, just hit your marks, dude. And the next lap he missed. And I just laughed because I know what Eddie was saying in his mind. What he said.
Did you not hear me? Is this thing on?
Am I speaking a different language? What did I just tell you? But I thought it was something different. But
yeah, I know.
But I mean, I just think he needs more experience. But until he starts racing with those guys every week like he did.
That's why that's why I went if I could take controls of the sport for 24 hours, I would get rid of the Cup guys can't go run Xfinity and truck stuff
in it.
Because I'm telling you, it's just like back in the day, it's like you'd see a kid might have run 12th in a truck race or 12th in a bush race or something, and you'd be like,
that's what we did with Blaney.
Yeah,
with Ryan.
That kid can do it because he's running against the top 10 were all Cup guys. I mean, like they don't. That's what I'm saying. Like you're talking about the lack of track time, but it's like
quality.
There's no. They don't get the on track lessons on Fridays and Saturdays anymore. They only get them on Sundays.
Yeah.
And I think that hurts these kids as much as anything.
From Team 17, have you guys had a chance to watch the Earnhardt documentary yet? And if so, what did you think?
Roush is asking this. That's good.
I texted your mom the other day. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was good. I mean, it's pretty cool to be not part of it, be in it during a lot of that time. There's a couple cool situations when Dale Jr. was talking. It kind of put myself in a little bit same position with my dad. Dale talked about when he went and visited Daytona. I had to do the same thing at Thompson. That's when my dad died at Thompson Speedway up in Connecticut. And it took me a couple years to do it, but I ended up going with the 9 Cup car to test there right before New Hampshire because we did it years before that with the 22, tested it at Thompson, went there and won the race. So I'm like, let's just see. And I more wanted to go just to feel it, just to see if it was okay. So a lot of it, it was pretty cool to hear him say that. What obviously on a smaller level than what the Earnhardts had to deal with, but same type of feeling. So I still go there to this day, to Thompson, I kind of got away from that thought process. But, it's pretty cool to have Luke drive it the other day. I haven't talked about it, never said anything, but, it's like, man, your grandson's racing this track now, your grandson's racing all these tracks that your grandkids are racing these these tracks that you're racing at. So, I related to a lot of it. It was all true, right? I mean, because I watched it, I mean, Dale was a bad man. Yeah. I mean, when he walked through that garage, he demanded that air around him. And it was cool to be part of it, and cool to be talking to him and have talked to him and spent a little time with him. And, it's good.
I think it was really well done. I like that it's kind of told from the perspective of Mom and Dale's, experience with it all, because most of the documentaries that have been done about him aren't. And I mean, they're the two people that knew him as a human through and through. So I think it was really well done. Shows. Who's got any shows this week?
Shows.
Who won last week? Andrew's not on my sheet.
We did not put a poll out.
Oh,
What?
I leave and you guys don't do a show Hall of Fame?
Well, we did. We just didn't put a poll out.
That was a long day.
Oh, we were missing.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Dalton was on break.
I won't.
Yeah, there was nobody here.
We didn't record an episode last week.
The boss recorded before us and then stole all the help to get his show out. I saw that coming.
I don't know if there was a real.
There
was some lady on some track, right?
What's that?
16 in practice.
I know what you're talking about. Didn't listen to
Why don't I remember what happened in the practice?
Remember they got parked.
Oh yeah, that was a show. Yeah.
I can't comment on this.
That might have allegedly happened to us last year at the same track.
My favorite thing is everybody making a big deal because they're like, oh, he got his hard card taken away, and I'm like, that is like the ultimate. Have you ever had your hard card taken away?
I've had it threatened by Helton plenty of times through the years.
I got mine taken away, and it's the ultimate. Like you're. It's like you.
People don't know how much that hurts.
Yeah, it's not. There's nothing wrong. Like you don't like. You're just. It's just the biggest now pain in the ass because you've got to go sign into the trailer every week.
Yeah.
When you go through a gate, they go through your bags and stuff because you don't have the hard card anymore. So it's like just the ultimate pain in the ass, and it's just a little dig. Like we're pissed at you. This is the really good way for us, and you lose it for like. I think I lost it for like a month, and it's not a week and they give it back to you. It's usually like a month or 2 months, something like that, where they just want to make your life a little bit miserable to
put you in timeout.
Yeah.
Well, a fine in points doesn't really
it's
hurt
over.
the spotter. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt like the car chief or something like that. Take away their hard card.
Yeah.
Now they're like, hey guys, I don't think we should do that.
Yeah, I mean, even he admitted, this guy, if they would have got a fine or a points penalty. He doesn't care.
No.
The crew chief's like, oh, yeah, they pay the fine, they do the points penalty, and we're on to the next thing. This is going to linger on for a month, probably at least a month, I imagine. And it's the guys riding with him now got to go to credentials before they're,
everyone's mad at you.
Everybody's mad. It's one of those things. I love that. Show for me, I sent it in today. We'll put it on the poll, Dalton. It's in the Black Flag podcast guys sent me a picture from Oxford last night. Where there's probably not a picture on here, but I could show you guys in a moment.
I have it.
This lady, Oxford doesn't have a wall really in 1 and 2, I think it is, and she just kind of walks out and hangs out. She's just standing there watching the race. God. She's just hanging, just chilling, just watching.
Is that real though?
Yeah, it's real.
It's real.
I thought it was maybe that. What's
way
that
too
other
grainy
Weaver,
to be
Weaver
AI
Valley?
generated.
Weaver Valley, no, that's legit. She just kind of. I mean, she wanted to get a good view of it. Just pray to God nobody got out of shape.
How did she get there?
Well, that's the pit area. I think that's where they pull off right there. Maybe I think she just kind of walked up out there.
Was she drunk?
I hope so. I don't know. So that was one of mine. I think
this one here on Flow Racing here on Kern.
I can't speak about that.
Why not? You weren't even there.
I'm not going to make fun of my boss.
Make fun of your boss? It wasn't even his fault.
He didn't really do anything wrong, I don't think.
No.
Then what's the show about it?
Well,
the guy running into your boss.
Yeah, they all wrecked each other.
I'm not going to lie. I haven't really watched this whole thing through.
So then what are you yapping? Harvick doing Harvick things, waiting for everybody to make mistakes.
Take care of each other.
Got the lead. Nice, clean pass. Didn't do anything leading up to that to piss anybody off. run up a little high there. Yeah.
Oh, no, that guy turned
around.
around.
Tried to right hook him, and now he got loose.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a
first.
Okay, yeah, that
First
is-
to 16. Let's see.
Gomes. Yeah. So the first 4 guys wrecked, and Keelan wins.
Gomes. Good move for Keelan. Keelan was the other version of Harvick. He let the 3 guys.
Let all 4 of them wreck.
That looks like a real racetrack.
Oh, it's a really good racetrack.
That's good. It's Kern.
Yeah.
Right? That is Kern, right?
Yep.
That's
insane.
cleaned him.
I don't know how the fourth place guy just spun out on his own.
Just lock her
I think
down.
he got excited. He's like, I'm going to win this thing. Nope, I'm not.
Nope. Change of plans. Which that was on Flow. We did have guys swatting at each other.
We
One with
did.
a familiar name, Connor Jones, is back in the news fighting for some reason. I didn't see the race, the incident on track that led to it. It was Parker Eatman.
Yeah, allegedly, which because I didn't see it either. I couldn't see from where I was standing. I couldn't see going into turn 3. But allegedly, Parker just blew through the grass underneath him and underneath Connor and Cade Brown. For no reason, for like 9th. And I guess that, it doesn't take much to take Connor off, but I guess that's what did it. And then after that, they were just going at it.
Yeah,
And next thing you know, they're swatting each other.
Well, hey, that's the, again, bringing this back to like the kids now and Carson having a reputation. It's like, I wouldn't know Connor Jones if he walked in here.
Yeah.
I do know him.
A reputation.
Yeah.
He's got a reputation already, from what he did at Homestead last year. And it just feels like he's always in it. And it's like, hey man, we're watching. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Well, and I hate that happened because truly the on-track piece of it had, like, Connor didn't do anything on track. And I have been saying all year that he has been really good. Like, he has been behaving. He has kept a level head. There's been many times this year where I've watched on-track incidents happen where I'm like, he's probably going to retaliate, and he hasn't. And so I kind of hated that did happen. I mean, I know he's, his reputation precedes him, but this year I really feel like I was seeing a growing up version of Connor in a way. Whether it was a little bit or a lot, obviously that's up for your own opinion. But I just hate that happened because it really wasn't his doing on track. But I mean, it was his doing when he decided to get out and try to fight somebody.
We had a really good race with him at Wilkesboro. Luke in the end of the pro race, the
Pro and the truck.
Yeah, they were around each other a lot in the truck race.
But the pro race at the end, I mean, they were racing within inches of each other, never really touched each other. I aggressively cleared Luke on Connor's bumper, and I got worried. Like, I think Connor last year probably goes into one and tries to ship Luke, and he didn't. Luke was clear and just had to get up in front of him because we were better than him. And but it was that last year he probably moves Luke or wrecks Luke in that situation, and he didn't. He kind of just got on the bumper and showed like, hey, I didn't appreciate that, whatever, which was completely within his rights. That's what you're supposed to do in that situation. But yeah, I agree. I don't think he has. I've called him out on this show numerous times because he has raced like an idiot in the past and then fought a lot and done a lot of dumb off the racetrack. I thought he has cleaned his act up for the most part this year, so I didn't like to see this the other night. And he was angry.
Yeah,
he was I feel like somebody had him picked up off the ground,
Mike, yeah,
and he's still flailing his arms around.
Oh my God!
It was a lot.
They were pushing him back. We were getting him backwards away from Parker, and he like climbed up on a stack of tires. Like, that's what it was that was sitting on the ground. It was and he's like standing on the tires trying to get over these adults that are just, and Mike's just picking him up and just trying to move him around.
But that's kind of like what sucks for these guys too, right? It's just like, you only see the snippets, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just, again, I'm not
because of their reputation.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not a hypocrite. I'm just saying, like, that's the thing. It's like you see those pieces and you're just like, that's what you think of them.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It's like, because I haven't seen the rehabilitation process.
Yeah, you just know the reputation
this year. Yeah, but again, I think in the truck stuff, I mean, he hasn't had any.
Yeah, he's only run the one race I think this year, but yeah, he was fine that race. I don't think he had any issues.
Yeah, him and Luke battled for a while.
All right, so
there's 2 Cars Tour Shit Show nominations this week. Are we serious?
I mean,
we
you guys
got modified. They ended
coast to coast. We're just
modified race. So the Flow. If you tune into Flow, because apparently that's where you find a lot of your shows these days. Of course, you could always tune into Flow.
There's going to be a lot of them coming up with the summer shootout.
Yeah, that's true. And if you don't already, subscribe to Flow. Flowsports.link/DBC1. Sign up now. Help us out so they know the millions of listeners are getting their subscriptions to Flow Racing. So Dalton, lady standing on the racetrack. Harvick
getting
wrecks. Harvick wins.
Swatting fight.
Connor Jones, swatting the Cars Tour. I don't know how you want to voice it. Connor Jones
we'll
one.
leave the creativity part up to you.
And then who was the other one?
Did we? Were we talking about the 16?
We can call out Hocevar while Jeff's here. You call out Eric Jones for spinning out Christopher Bell on a restart. That was a little aggressive, I thought. Yeah, I don't know. We
haven't had like really good ones. I think the current
because Chris Wright hasn't been busy lately.
Yeah, Chris Wright's been.
What about Tony Kanaan and McLaughlin on
I
on
didn't
Twitter?
see
I
that.
didn't see it. Oh, they have a little Twitter beef.
Twitter beef
After the race.
After the race, yeah.
Oh.
TK went and he said something to Scott like he was going down there he goes, "I was looking for your team principal. Couldn't, you know what I mean?"
Yeah, just a little dig.
Just couldn't find him.
Here we go.
Misjudged last week, misjudged this week. At least you get a weekend off to square it away. I came looking for your team principal to have a chat, but I couldn't find him. Oh wait.
Oh boy.
That could go on there for sure. That'll be the fourth one.
All right. Well, remember to go vote on our Show Hall of Fame Twitter poll on who you want to see be inducted this week. And DBC picks. I'm ready for this because I finally won. It's been weeks. I've been in a drought, and I whooped y'all's ass.
Carson Hocevar
Because
whooped our ass.
you guys were last week. You were giving me all that hell.
So Jeff, you got to partake
my
in
pick.
this.
Okay. Is this from Michigan?
This is going to be from Michigan.
And you're the guest, obviously, and the ones that are highlighted you can't pick.
The ones that are
this
keep
right,
going.
this
Grayed out.
Jeff, can you tell Carson
I think it's on
thank
the-
you for me?
I
I
will.
think it's on the back of a page. There you go.
I
So
go
the ones that
first.
are grayed out, you can't take. On this column.
When the hell did I pick? Why is Castro Neves grayed out on mine? I haven't picked him.
I just graded out
because
because
nobody's going to pick him.
because
everyone's
he's never
complaining
gonna-
that he's still on the list.
He's not going to race with us
and
again.
it didn't work.
I mean,
Someone
you
still
can pick
mentioned
him. I
him.
think you should leave it on there because she technically can pick him. You know,
No,
she. You
I
know,
was just never
I
mind.
don't know. He might race somewhere. Who knows? Spire. He's going to run for Sonoma for Spire.
Maybe that's what it was.
What a week! What a week for me to be here. Jesus Christ!
Don't laugh.
I
'cause
said that the other day.
There's always something brewing in that head, so don't laugh.
I mean, this has been set up. We had this earlier in the year, and then Jeff couldn't make it. So then, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I text Jack, like, "Hey, you want to do after Nashville?" He's like, "Yeah." And then I seen the article come out last week, and I'm like,
Here we
"Oof,
go. Yeah,
that's
here we
good
go.
timing." All right, who's go? Tommy, you go first.
I'm going to pick Bubba.
Okay. I go next. Yeah. I am going to take. Did I pick him already?
I'm running out of good people to pick.
No, I have not picked him. I'm going to ride the hot hand. I'm going to take Carson Hocevar.
And he can win this week.
He could easily win this week
If he doesn't run into
if he doesn't run into anybody.
Michigan's a big track, so
It's 9
hopefully
lanes,
it's-
please.
it might be all right. It might be all right.
You're up, Jeff.
I hate myself.
I mean, if you want to pick Carson,
I'm gonna take Austin Cindric.
Okay,
All
yeah,
right.
that's a good pick.
I think the Fords are always. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I think
I
they.
feel like Ford that
I think the Fords at Michigan are always tough to beat, and somebody already took Blaney.
I'm going to take Keselowski.
All right.
I feel like maybe
Yeah, it
he'll
might be,
turn it around this
yeah.
week.
Anyway, Jeff, looking forward to Michigan this weekend.
I'm excited to go to the racetrack this every week. I'm just I think the way that our Hendrick engines are firing and just the speed that we have, it's just like I wouldn't sleep on us. I think we'll have three shots at it.
Plus the trucks too, right?
Oh yeah,
Trucks
we
in.
got them all rocking this
Got
week,
17 of them showing up.
man. Yeah.
Thomas, what do you got going on this weekend?
Just Michigan, and Luke's running Ryan Priest's modified at the Tri-Track up in White Mountain. So that'll be on
New Hampshire.
Flow.
That'll be
White Mountain in
Vermont.
Yeah,
Vermont.
Yes, I think that's on
It's on
Flow.
Flow. Saturday.
Carson,
Not a damn thing going on for me this
take a
weekend.
weekend off,
Yep.
relax, regroup. Where's Cars Tour next?
We go to Dominion next for the Minis Mission 125. It's a fun weekend, though. That's where we have all the kids out from Walter Reed Medical Center, and they all get to like spend the weekend with the drivers, being on the crew, and it's a really special weekend. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Again, saw a bunch of DBC fans this week out and about in Nashville. Saw a bunch of the racetrack. I did have to give a shout out. Timmy Riegelman, good friend of mine. spotter for. I obviously came through the ranks spotting for Jimmy Blewett. Timmy the whole time was spotting for John Blewett until John passed. Great guy, just somebody that I always look forward to seeing. We lost him Saturday morning, so thinking of Scott, his family, his girls. Just keeping them in our thoughts, and he'll be missed by. I know you probably saw Timmy a lot modified racing. It's just a really good guy. So. With that, thank you for listening, Jeff. Thank you for joining us. I'm gonna have to probably drag you back in here next time. Anytime you're in a headline, I'm gonna just keep dragging you back in. Next time Carson gets in, somebody
we'll get an update, a 6-month update on Hocevar of your thought process and how many more teams you own, and how many hockey teams do you own now?
Man, we own 3 or 4. We actually that's what I'm leaving here is our team from Trois-Rivières. Is in the ECHL finals against Toledo. Game 2 tonight. So we're gonna take a truckload up here, leaving at 3. But told you, Tommy, luckiest guy in the world, man.
Hockey teams, race teams.
Yeah, we're rocking.
Whatever it takes. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back. Well, we're going to be back next week. Michigan. I'm thinking Mexico. I'm all to Mexico. I've been talking about Mexico for a freaking week already. Anyway, we'll be back next Monday. Thanks for listening. See you then.
Peace out.
See ya.